We're going road course racing in the hills of the Empire State, but much like any NASCAR race, everything can change in a New York minute, including the playoff picture. Welcome to a pivotal edition of Around the Track. Gabe McDonald, Gnome, America's crew chief, Larry McReynolds. We're coming out the gate strong, getting you ready for the final road course of the regular season at good old Watkins Glen, including an exclusive one-on-one with the race favorite, Trackhouse Racing's Shane Van Gisbergen. Larry, you ready to get into it?
Always ready to start turning left and right. Love road course racing.
Absolutely, always fun. And Watkins Glen is a fan favorite for a reason. This ever-evolving road course boasts 7 turns that will challenge any driver at any level. Multiple changes have been made over the years, including last year when NASCAR threw a curveball at the drivers during the playoffs with the bigger banking at the bus stop chicane, and that element will return. More on that in just a little bit. Crew chiefs have their hands full this week as well because the tire fall off is going to force a pit stop or 2 more than planned. And with only 3 weeks until the playoffs begin and 3 spots available in the Cup Series, teams who haven't punched a ticket are in desperation mode.
We've been right there with all of our cars in different positions over the last few weeks, and you just never know. I mean, you see some of these teams that win, and like, where did that come from? You know, they haven't been real competitive, and they just win a race, and then they go back to where they were. You're like, okay, that doesn't make a lot of sense. So it's a particularly fickle sport.
Watkins Glen's a great track. You know, one of the original road courses, if you will, right? One of the ones that's been on the NASCAR circuit for a long, long time. Really fast. You do the S's. You also got that bus stop there. It's pretty interesting as well. So cool place for sure. Great fans there too.
Now let's get to the track trends at Watkins Glen. How's this for a storyline? Only 2 of the last 9 Watkins Glen races were won by a driver getting their first win of the season, one of them being last year's winner, Chris Buescher, who is on the cut line as we speak. Look for late lap drama in this one as well. 2 of the last 3 races have had the winner make his final pass in the last 5 laps. And 5 of the last 13 Cup road course races were won by drivers getting their first road course win. Everybody needs stage points, but the stage 1 winner finished outside the top 10 in each of the last 7 road course races. Well, we better talk about Watkins Glen than America's crew chief. Larry, we're turning left, we're turning right, but in the hills of western New York, the racing is unlike other road courses that we see, and you actually got your first win here back in 1988, too.
I did. It's hard to believe 37 years ago, but, you know, this is the 5th road course race of the year, Gabe, like you said, but I look at road courses like golf courses. Every golf course has 18 holes, but every road course, like a golf course, they're all a little bit different. 7 turns, 5 of them to the right, 2 to the left, plus you have the chicane. But it's probably one of the fastest road courses we go to. In fact, I've heard some drivers this week say it's kind of like the intermediate or the speedway of road courses because you have those long straightaways and you've got some high-speed, heavy braking entrances.
Absolutely. We're going to talk about Shane Van Gisbergen here, have him shortly in Garage Confidential, but he's got that signature heel-toe method down that no one else can do. Can anyone beat him at Watkins Glen?
Well, I think if you're going to win this thing, it goes through him. Yeah. And, of course, he proved that he can be beat. Christopher Bell won the first road course race of the season at COTA. But I think, honestly, that the role he and his crew chief, Stephen Doran, that they're on right now, the only team that can beat them if they beat themselves. But you think about 90 laps and 7 turns. That's a lot of turns to make a mistake. They're going to have 2 or 3 pit stops. So, yeah. They've got to be spot on, but you look at the last 3 road courses, they certainly have been that on pit road and on the racetrack.
Absolutely, the king of the road course so far, getting those 3 wins there in the summer stretch. And getting down to the nitty-gritty for the playoffs, the window is closing 4 weeks away from the opener at the Lady in Black down in Darlington, but only 3 open spots. The man who holds the final spot for now actually won this race just last year. Chris Buescher, let's go ahead and take a look at that playoff bubble at the moment. Look at the cut line here. You have RFK teammates, Chris Buescher just 23 points ahead of a charging Brian Preece, having a great season in that 60 car, and he's certainly within striking distance. And you have Tyler Reddick, who really pending DNFs and 3 different winners, he's a virtual lock to make it into the playoffs. He has 122 points above the cut line. Bowman in the same boat at 63 points above the cut. That really leaves the RFK drivers going at each other, which includes driver owner Brad Keselowski, who did sweep the opening stages at Iowa last week and looked to be clinching a spot of his own. But with the road course in Watkins Glen this weekend, anything can really happen there. You got Kyle Busch, Ty Gibbs, AJ Allmendinger all still lurking, but all 3 of those guys pretty much in a must-win situation to make the playoff. Of those guys around the cut line, who do you see being able to kind of pick up some ground this week and possibly be in victory lane if it's all said and done?
Well, again, Chris Buescher, he's just above the cut line, but to the point you made, even though they've not been that great on road courses this year, he won this race. But I look at drivers like Ty Gibbs, still looking for his first win, but he's been so good on the road courses. A.J. Allmendinger, we know he's always good turning left and right, but I think the fight is between those two RFK drivers right there. And it's going to be interesting to see how they navigate this race on Sunday, maybe chasing stage points or being in position to win the race. That can be a bit of a slippery slope, but just remember this. Just like when Bubba Wallace won Indy, if we get a driver that's right around that cut line or well below it that wins it, my phrase is it'll take that playoff cut line and shake it up like a Christmas snow globe. It just absolutely changes everything.
What do you think of those conversations are like at the RFK camp when you have obviously Brad Keselowski close to getting a win and two drivers right there around the cut line? How do you think those conversations and the planning is throughout all the teams in that shop?
Yeah, I actually talked to Derek Finley, who's crew chief for Ryan Preece this week, about that very same thing, Gabe, and he said, you know, it's pretty much business as usual. Right. He said, yeah, we'd like to think there's a path to get all three cars in. Brad Keselowski absolutely must win, but the biggest thing over these next 3 weeks is we want to try to get at least one in. That's the whole company line is let's get at least one of these drivers in and maybe we can get two.
So you want them getting victory lane. Obviously got Watkins Glen, Richmond, and then Daytona where anything can happen in that one. And I'm not trying to set anyone off here, but it sounds like a few drivers, current and a legend of status, have had it with aspects of the next-gen car. Multiple people, including Kevin Harvick, calling for more horsepower in the sport. Larry, you've been a part of multiple eras in different cars. Your thoughts on this? Do we need more, less? Is it just right? How do you feel?
Well, right now we have 2 horsepower packages. We have the 510 horsepower that we run into super speedways of Atlanta, Daytona, and Talladega. Everywhere else is 670. I think at the short tracks, the road courses, we do need to look at more, and I think it needs to be a big jump, maybe 800 horsepower. But I think, and they're looking at this maybe for next year, not this year, it would force us to have 3 different packages because I don't think we can take 800 horsepower to Michigan, to Indianapolis, to Pocono. We can't start driving off in some of these corners over 200 miles per hour. So I think definitely for the short tracks and the road courses, say a mile and under and turning left and right, I think and I hope they're looking at more horsepower.
We'll see how those changes affect possibly next season and in years to come. Well, Larry's sticking around. He's got more to sound off on, but so does our next guest, who's sick of hearing he's only a road course ace.
You don't really require it here to be fast, but people make a big deal of it, and I just sort of go with it.
Talked about it earlier. It's a technique that many have tried, but only one has been able to master in the Cup Series. How being quick with his feet has turned him into a road course ace in the sport. We got Shane Van Gisbergen in Garage Confidential coming up next. And if you've been watching the Xfinity Series on the CW, then you know that it's anyone's race at any time. But who's coming down from the Cup Series to try and spoil the fun? One of them is the Daytona 500 champion. Those details are on deck. And Larry, have you seen where the Braves are in the NL East right now?
They take 3 steps forward and 4 steps back. That's the way I see it.
And at least you'll always have the inaugural Speedway Classic to celebrate. But it's what Bristol Motor Speedway is doing with the field that has people talking. We got more around the track coming up next. Back here on Around the Track, it was delayed 24 hours, but there was action at Bristol Motor Speedway last weekend. Not by the drivers, but the baseball players. The Braves taking out the Reds in what became the most attended baseball game in Major League history. It took a village to transform the last great Coliseum into a ballpark, but it took no time to make a decision about the actual field. MLB donated the field inside the Speedway to the East Tennessee State University baseball and softball programs. It's already there as we speak, and it's going to take about a month to install and set it. A little piece of history thanks to the good people at Bristol Motor Speedway. Well, Larry is shaking his head offset. Big Braves fan, not the best season for the ATL right now, but how about this winter? He is NASCAR's unquestioned king of the road course. Shane Van Gisbergen once had doubts about his future in the sport, but has now solidified his standing with Trackhouse after 3 wins this season, plus 1 in the Xfinity Series. Can he finally make headway on the ovals, though? I asked him just that in this week's Garage Confidential. Well, Shane, you've been one of the drivers making plenty of headlines this summer when you think about, your dominant stretch on the road courses. Already got 3 wins, safely in the playoffs, stacking up the playoff points. What do you make of this, first full-time season and what you've been able to do so far in your success, especially with the whole team at Trackhouse as well?
Yeah, it's been an amazing few months. We sort of had a rough start to the year. Me, myself, and then also the team were sort of battling a bit, and then, the last couple of months we're really getting better. 3 wins for us, and my teammate got a win as well, and yeah, it's really starting to set up to be a good final half of the year.
And you yourself, you said you feel like you've gotten, leaps and bounds better on the ovals over the past few weeks. What do you think has kind of led to that as far as your preparation and being able to get better and improve and be more of an all-around racer in the NASCAR Cup Series?
Just time. Like, I'd never done this before, so it's just the races I'm doing, just learning every week. And Iowa, we were on for a good result and then got spun, or I spun first, then got spun again after we recovered. So yeah, potential is there. We just got to put it together.
And obviously you've been, driving pretty much everything for a long time. A lot of people have made a lot of your footwork, the kind of heel-toe method, and how you kind of lead that to your success on the road courses. How did you learn that? Did you play Twister growing up? A lot of dancing games? How did that kind of come about? How did you really, grow in that aspect of your game to get better now?
Well, that's what we needed to do to drive the cars. When I moved to Australia, that's how you had to make speed. So you don't really require it here to be fast, but people make a big deal of it, and I just sort of go with it, but it really doesn't help that much.
Has anybody else in the garage maybe reached out man, you got to teach me a little something. We got to get in the lab together?
I think a few have tried it, but I don't know if any are successful. But yeah, as I said, I think left foot braking's just as fast, but it's what I'm used to, so I stick with it.
And you're a guy that's pretty, reserved, maybe in the public eye, but who exactly is Shane Van Gisbergen off the track? Obviously, you've been over in the States for, quite a little bit now, getting adjusted to NASCAR. How's everything been just, off the track for you, just getting to know everybody and kind of, come out of your shell, maybe, so to speak?
Oh, it's been awesome. I kind of stick to myself a little bit away from racing, which is good. But yeah, I love the racing here. Racing every week is awesome. I got a great bunch of teammates on my team and good bunch of guys working on my car. It's an awesome atmosphere. I just enjoy going racing every week and then working during the week to try and get better. It's been a lot of fun.
Last year in this very race, you mentioned battling for a win. It was you and Chris Buescher there neck and neck. Does that one keep you up at night, just how, that one kind of ended? You had it in the bag there, and then the 17, obviously you were able to make that push and get the win. What do you remember most about that race, and is that one you still think about?
Not anymore, but afterwards, yeah, I was certainly disappointed in myself. It sucks always making a personal error, but we had a really fast car. We had the fastest car all day, so should have won, and that one got away from us. But just work hard this year and try not to make mistakes.
And a lot of people, whether it be fans or whoever else, they have certain opinions about it. It's like, oh, this guy can only win on the road courses, or oh, this and that. What do you have to say, just to anybody that may doubt you as far as, oh, he can't do it on the ovals, he's only a road course guy? Yeah. Any message to them at all?
No, that's racing and that's fans, isn't it? Everyone's passionate about their sport and passionate about the drivers they follow. So, yeah, I don't really care about that. Everyone's nice to my face, and they're right. I still need a lot of improvement in the ovals, and I know that, and I don't shy away from it. So, yeah, but hopefully one day they're wrong. But at the moment, I know I have a lot of work to do. When
you look forward to the road ahead, obviously you got 3 races left in the regular season, then getting ready for the playoffs. You got obviously the first round with different tracks, and then even the Roval in the second round. What excites you the most about just the road ahead and knowing that you do have a chance, at least right now, to go and compete for a championship?
Yeah, if we get through that first round, the second round has tracks that we have a really good chance at. So, but the first round's going to be tough. It's Darlington, very difficult track, and then Gateway, which I've never been to, and then Bristol, which I wasn't very good at the first time. So, who knows what can happen? I got a lot of work to do, but if we get through that first round, who knows?
Certainly a force to be reckoned with, especially on the road courses and soon to be on the ovals as well. Shane Van Gisbergen, thanks for your time. Good luck this weekend.
Cheers.
Thanks again to SVG and Trackhouse for the time. So let's talk long term here. We know Shane is going to the playoffs, but how much time in the playoffs has he bought himself? The old chase for the Cup started today. He'd start 4th in the standings, 3 wins with 17 playoff points, with the tiebreaker going to Christopher Bell in 3rd. Pending any more victories and playoff points scored by Byron the rest of the way, is he safe through round 1 where there are no road courses, Larry, when you think about, just the cushion that he has right now?
Well, I think the path is there, but I think the path starts at Watkins Glen. You saw the 17 playoff points. If he can go up there to Watkins Glen and win that race and maybe win a stage and get north of 20 playoff points, I think that puts them in a position where in that first round, around the 16, if they just hit the ball down the middle at those 3 ovals, I think that will advance him to the next round. They can't have any mistakes. Right. Remember, the round of 16 to the round of 12, a minimum of 9 drivers will advance on points. So that would be a good position for him. And then we all know when we get to that round of 12, the Charlotte Roval, I see the path for him to make it to the round of 8, but I think that path starts at Watkins Glen this weekend.
Do you like the Roval? A lot of people would like to maybe see the Charlotte Oval back in the playoffs. Do you like kind of the twist that it brings being a cutoff race?
I like having at least one road course in the playoffs. Yeah. I think the playoffs should be made up of all the different principles of tracks that we go to, a road course, speedway, short tracks, and intermediates. And right now we have that.
Going to be definitely a critical cutoff race if he can get there to the round of 12, possibly to the round of 8 as well. Still to come, we knew he was capable of winning, but now that Sam Mayer has found victory lane, we're kind of puzzled. Why isn't the dude happy? We'll let him tell you himself coming up next. And if you think the playoff race in the Cup Series is tight, wait till you see what's going on with the CW with the Xfinity Series. We've got family fighting each other, folks, for real. More ATT right after this. Back here on ATT, 3 Cup Series regulars are coming down to Xfinity this weekend to try and spoil the fun. SVG getting back into Junior Motorsports' 9 car. And welcome Riley Herbst. He's back in the Xfinity Series. 2311 Willman getting back into Joe Gibbs Racing Toyota. He'll be in the 19 this weekend. Then Colleague Racing calls an old friend to fill in with the 11 team, Michael McDowell. He knows a thing or two about road course racing. Double duty for him on the CW network this weekend. And we got some good news and bad news for one of the series' biggest stars in the Xfinity Series. Austin Hill has been granted a playoff waiver. However, all the playoff points he accumulated throughout the season, they are gone. The RCR driver was forced to sit out last week in Iowa, a 1-race suspension after NASCAR says he was recklessly driving after contact with Eric Almirola's number 19. With the waiver, Hill can be in the playoffs, but those 21 points for the postseason will be taken away, making it very hard for him to get out of the first round. Same with the Xfinity Talk. We have a new winner in the 2025 season, Sam Mayer of Haas Factory Team, giving the organization its first victory in the Xfinity Series. Iowa's been good to the 22-year-old the past 2 seasons as he's won both Xfinity races in the Heartland in that span. Mayer took advantage of the restart on lap 221 and maintained it through the white flag in order to get the checkered flag. Now with the spot clinch in the Xfinity Series playoffs, Mayer knows how important these next races are and believes he has the best car to compete in.
We just had things go our way finally. Like there's been a couple of races here and there where we were maybe the best car at some points throughout the race, but we just couldn't hold on to it, whether it was on pit road, me making mistakes, or anything. Like there's so much dynamic to racing that the TV doesn't usually get, and that the teams are fighting through each day. But we just had things go our way in Iowa, and to go back-to-back for myself and to get Ford their first win of 25 is really special. So definitely, like I said, want to keep it rolling because the playoffs are coming up. A lot of huge races for us and races I'm confident in as well. So if we can keep the momentum rolling, I think we're in a really good spot.
Now, Sam did shrink the Xfinity playoff window, but just a little bit. Only 12 spots available in this series with 8 full-time drivers with wins and 4 spots still up for grabs. But what we're all looking at is the cut line. The cousins duking it out for the final spot. Harrison Burton, 19 points above his cousin Jeb, but only 17 points up on Ryan Sieg, who's making a late season push. It would take an epic collapse for Carson Quapple, Sheldon Creed, and Taylor Gray to slip out of their respective positions. Larry, how do you see the rest of the Xfinity season playing out, especially for one Austin Hill, who's definitely going to have a tough road losing all those playoff points?
Well, he lost all the playoff points he's got. He does not get any more no matter what he accomplishes these last regular season. Right now, he's 5th in the regular season points, but he will get no points for finishing in the top 10. He will start at the bottom of the barrel at 2,000 points. So pretty much he has no mulligans. I'm not going to say he has to win in that first round, but he cannot have a bad race. And this is a guy that's got 3 wins, and we do have a Daytona race coming up. We know he would be a player there.
When you look at those 2 cousins, how exciting is it going to be to kind of see that fight to the finish with the 2 of them trying to get in as well?
Well, and there's another guy in there too, Ryan Sieg, that keeps flirting with getting that first career win. I think for Jeb Burton, when I look at the remaining regular season races, Jordan Anderson racing, I think Daytona is the one they got circled. Jeb is always really good at the super speedways. Harrison Burton, they're just solid everywhere, but kind of like the Cup Series, Gabe, if we get somebody below that cut line that wins maybe like Daytona, we got these 2 road courses of Watkins Glen and Portland, it completely changes that playoff cut line.
Going to be fun to watch the next few weeks before the postseason gets underway in the Xfinity Series and the Cup Series as well. Well, last year, it was Chris Buescher outdueling SVG on the final lap at the Glen to get his lone victory in 2024. Can he have the same luck this time around and punch a playoff ticket? We got the odds from the books and our Victory Lane locks coming up next. Back here on ATC, 123.11 cars in the playoffs. Tyler Reddick is looking pretty good to get in on points, but maybe being inside Garage Confidential can get the 45 in with the win. Tyler Reddick is on the show next week as we help you get ready for the race in Richmond. Check your local listings for when you can see around the track on your local Nexstar station. And if you bet on anyone else to be atop the sportsbook odds on this one, well, you lost. Shane Van Gisbergen is this over 3.5 to 1 odds at plus 165. Connor Zilisch is in the field and has beaten SVG in an Xfinity race this season. Zilisch won his Xfinity debut at this track last year. He's next at plus 370. William Byron's at 10 to 1 with Hendrick teammate Kyle Larson. And Christopher Bell rounds out the top 5 at 11 to 1. The question now is, who does America's crew chief think is taking Watkins Glen? We get a first-time winner or a repeat to keep the window open? Who you got this weekend?
Let's see, this is a road course. I'm not going to go with the low-hanging fruit. I'm going to go with the fruit, Gabe, that somebody's already picked and put in the basket. Are you kidding me? Shane Van Gisbergen, he's going to get his 4th road course win in a row, his 5th overall.
Going to be incredible just to see if he can get that and build some more playoff points. I'm going with the young gun, Connor Zilisch. I think he can outduel SVG and get it done.
I thought this pick was for Sunday, not Saturday.
It is
right?
for Sunday.
Oh, okay, okay.
Enjoy the races this weekend, folks. We'll see you next weekend as we get you ready for Richmond.
Queen City News Plus. Just search Queen City News on your smart TV's app store.